Hello, good morning. I'm Bruce Harris.
Yaorana, I'm Hina Reed.
Hello, I'm Miguel Mora, and welcome to Cheques Play.
Woo-hoo.
You see that? I'm not going to do that. I did it anyway. Jesus, I said I was going to do it, and I still did it.
That is your sign on.
I have to be more disciplined. I have to really work. I'm trying to work on that.
No, that's your sign on signature.
Can we do it again? That was like the second. That was the third time.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do it again. Let's just do. Hey, hello. How's everybody doing here at Cheques Play Casino Podcast? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone that you are in. We are happy to be with you today.
Woohoo!
And guess what, Miguel? Look who is here with us again, Miss Hina Reed.
Oh!
Hina.
Thank you again for the opportunity, gentlemen.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, the pleasure is ours. For you to even think about getting up early in the morning in Las Vegas and, to let us steal some time away from your busy activity at Next Gen Technologies in Las Vegas. So what's going on with Next Gen? What's going on with Hina? Tell us about it.
We are getting we're very busy right now getting ready for NIGA and some of the new products that we are going to be rolling out. So we're really, really super busy.
NIGA is the it's the Native American Gaming Conference. What's NIGA stand for? NIGA, right?
National Indian Gaming Association.
Indian Gaming Association, yeah.
Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, I think we just did a podcast. Well, you know what? It's going to be over by the time everyone sees this. So, but anyway, that's what you're getting ready for, and wish you all the luck and a lot of success and a lot of ching, a lot of deals. That'd be awesome. Hey, Miguel, did you see that email that we got from, was it Sarah from Oklahoma?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
She's a big boxing fan. Hina, you like boxing?
I love boxing. Are you kidding me? Caesar's Palace held some of the best boxing events.
Yeah, I used to when there were some good heavyweight, contenders, the Tyson and Larry Holmes, Jerry Cooney, all those guys back in the day, but it's not the same.
It's not the same. Today's are mostly in the lighter weights and the middle weights like Canelo and the lighter weights. You got Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
And some of the other ones coming out, Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia. We Hispanics were always in the mix.
Sure, yeah, I got you. Yeah, but different parts of the countries, Mexico, Honduras, and all these places. So Sarah, she's from Oklahoma. She had a question because she's into boxing and she's also now delving into sports betting. Ooh. And so she had a question about what the line was. So Sarah, the line is an amount by which one team or contestant is perceived to be favored over an opposing team. So this line can be expressed in terms of points. In other words, a favorite would be, they would subtract points from the favorite score. The underdog, they would add points to the underdog score. Or the payoff on the team or contestant relative to the amount wagered. Remember the guy, what's his name? Vladimir Klitschko, Miguel from Russia. And he fought this guy named David Hay. So Klitschko was the favorite. And I think the example is the money line. So the money line was Klitschko minus 195, okay? And David Hay plus 170 for David Hay. So that means if you wanted to bet on Klitschko, for every $1.95 you wagered, you won $1. If you wagered on David Hay, for every dollar you wagered, you would win $1.70. Therefore, you would collect $2.70. So it would be what your winnings and the dollar that you wagered. Okay, so that's.
It is, but thanks for explaining that.
So that's the money line. So the point spread, which would be the line, for example, let's take New England Patriots football team. Now they're the favorite. So let's say they're -7. They're going to subtract the points from their score, and they're playing against Cleveland Browns. So they're the underdog. So they're going to be +7. So the final outcome of the game is 21-14. They would subtract 7 from New England, which their score on the line would be 14, and they would add 7 to Cleveland, so their score would be 21 in order to win on the line. Yeah, so that was a
That's-
question received out there from Sarah.
And that, Bruce, one thing to let them know is that's when you hear sometimes that the team won but didn't cover, and you actually could lose if you bet to the winning team, but they didn't cover on the points.
Correct.
You lose the bet, even
Correct.
though your team won.
Correct. That's
So
right.
they have to win. Let's say the line was 7 points. If they win, and if the game is 21-14, they didn't cover. So if the game was, for instance, 27-14, they did cover because they got 7 points more than the other team.
Correct. Cool. So there's another one that we answered, and we try our best. And listen, the more questions you ask, the more we learn. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, today was going to be a great day. We're really honored to have the gentleman here. He's the Senior Vice President of Light and Wonder, which is a new brand from the company that was called Scientific Games. And they had different lineages of different names during the course of many years. So there's a lot to unpack with that. So the Senior Vice President of Light and Wonder is going to be with us. His name is Roger Snow. Let's introduce him now. We're going to have Roger come in, and let's have a great day with Roger. Let's do this.
Ooh, very excited.
Yes.
Their website is amazing. The new one.
Hello, Roger. Hello.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Roger. Good morning. We're here with Miguel and Hina Reed. Thanks for getting up so early in the morning for us. We really appreciate that.
You've heard of these things called time zones, right?
Oh,
There are
come
24 of them. They run around the longitude of the Earth.
Don't start, Roger. No, what's confusing for us? Do you know that our time zone doesn't change here?
Yeah, it's island time, right?
It's island time. The times.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's okay. I needed a reason to get up in the morning, and what better than you, Bruce?
Oh, listen to you, man. Hey, we haven't seen you in a while, man. It's been almost 2 years now since you came out to visit us. When are you coming out again?
Probably sometime later this year. I think you met my wife. She's from Santo Domingo, so we hooked up in Punta Cana. Then I think we're going to come back later this year. But I'm confused. I don't understand. I thought, excuse me, por favor. I thought we were going to do this entire podcast in Spanish. I've been practicing for hours.
Okay.
You know what? Forget it. The mood is gone. Let's just stick with English.
No, thanks for giving me a break. I appreciate it because I know that you're very fluent. I heard you practicing when we were ordering food.
All of that. What is that?
We're at Playa Blanca, I think we were.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. We had an amazing time. And how's your lovely wife? I hope she's doing well. Please say hello for me.
Well, she's doing great.
Cool, man. Cool. Good, man. So what's happening there? I know that you got a lot of things going on there with the new brand.
Well, first of all, just so you know, we'll get to it.
Go ahead.
I'm a big fan of the podcast. It's a lot of fun. I love the guests, but do me a favor. Next time you talk to Geoff Hall, tell him stop sending me his crap.
What is that? Let me see. What is that?
I got lucky dice. Boxes of them in my office, taking up valuable space.
Wait, I got a box here. Wait a minute. I got a box of stuff here too. Can I send it to you?
No.
Well, look at this. Look, he sent me this. I got some other stuff here.
Listen, you tell that Cockney so-and-so, stop sending me get his own garage.
Up the apples and pears. You know, I'm going to talk stuff about him. You know, when we did his podcast, we took like 2 days just to get his backdrop together. He's a genius.
Oh yeah, but not at that. Yeah. It's you are. I don't know what side of the brain Geoff uses, but it's not that side. It's funny. Geoff's one of my favorite people in the industry, but he is just. Sometimes I think his genius is almost a curse. He can't stop it from happening. You'd be sitting down having dinner with the guy.
He's calculating.
Nice formal, all of a sudden be like, oh. I'm like, are you choking on something? He goes, no. What if the dealer busted with a 9?
He talked about you too. I'm going to back him up and support him a little bit. He talked a little stuff about you. He says you do the same thing, but you have a different process. His just comes out. He can't control it. You know, even if we stop at a stoplight, he's calculating the time it took from the previous light to the current light when we stopped, and when it turned from green to red, he's calculating the algorithm.
He cannot turn it off. He created, free bet, I think, is the best blackjack derivative ever made.
Yeah.
And he and I were going back and forth on it. We were struggling with it. How do you, ultimately the ability to bet freely without encumbrances, to double or split without encumbrances was too much for the player. You had to figure out a way to get the house advantage back. And then, I don't know, about 9 o'clock my time, I'm in Vegas, 9 o'clock my time, the phone rings and he's like, I got to figure it out.
He told us that story. He said,
are you okay? I thought he was like, stuck in a Malaysian prison or something.
Because he thinks when he's sleeping, when he's laying down, he says in bed is when he figures his stuff out. Yeah. And he said he called you.
He did. And he called me in a panic. And I'm somewhat more, and I just said, Geoff, go back to bed. That's the perfect idea. You've got it. But again, in fairness, and I've had similar, when I was doing Ultimate Texas Hold'em, I didn't have that kind of an epiphany. Mine was more about frustration. But sometimes when you create these games, you hit this mathematical point where it's like, you gotta get your way through it. And you can go over it, under it, around it. There are options, but there's always the best option you want to pick. But Geoff's that way.
Are you still doing that? Are you still in that kind of realm and orbit? Because I know you do a lot of things. You have a lot of things in your tools.
Yeah, I got some new. I got some new games coming out later this year. It's always fun. And Geoff and I, we get together. We talk about stuff. He's got his new games. He's got his. I'm doing more promoting for this. He should be paying me. There's diamonds. Blackjack.
Well, when I see his process, Roger, is yours the same? He'll take a game that's existing and find ways to deviate or, add to it or take away from it. Is that your process as well?
Yes, Geoff. It is funny. And not to bore. If people haven't all turned it off already, I'll go into the process.
No, I like that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe 10 years ago, Geoff. And you guys know who Derek Webb is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a three-card poker.
21 plus 3.
Yeah.
So by circumstance,
another genius.
Derek, Geoff, and I had dinner at a steakhouse here in Las Vegas. I think they stuck me with the bill. Come to think of it, maybe that's why they invited me.
They figured it out. Yeah.
But I sort of observed, hey, you know what? If there were a Mount Rushmore of table game invention, I think you got three of the faces right here. So I was curious. I asked Derek about his process. And it was, the first thing I did was I printed out all the patents. For on table games that had been created. And then I laid them, I laid them out. And I went and I sort of cross-referenced them to see what had been patented. And I'm falling asleep in my soup.
It's a great dinner.
And then Geoff is, I get the idea. And then I'm in the shop, I'm thinking about this and that's part of and I'm thinking I am somewhere in the middle of those two extremes. So, but it did fascinate me because I assume it's the same way in music or in art or in sculpting or whatever it is you do, that there are just different methods that people have and they fit the personalities. Can you imagine Geoff Hall printing out patents and laying them down?
No, he's a numbers guy. And he's calculations.
But Derek Webb is methodical. It's a different type of creativity. Mm-hmm. And Derek just said, I'm going to find the openings in between the patents. And I think I'm on like 40 patents. I think I've read 2 of them. I probably committed 38 counts of patent fraud. That's a joke. It's much higher than that. No. So, but that 10-minute conversation really opened up my eyes that there are just different ways that people do it. And they're not going to, Geoff is never going to deviate from his format, and I'm never going to deviate from mine.
Well, that's part of that's who you are. I mean, I'm a little bit of I used to be a musician. You can see my stuff back here, it's collecting dust, because they're ornaments now. I hang my clothes on them like people hang their clothes on the Peloton, on the Peloton. So, what I mean?
On the treadmills.
Right. But the thing about what really, the one thing I got out of that, the biggest thing that I listened to when you said that whole dynamic of what happened is that why wasn't I smart enough to stick you with the bill when you
exactly.
were at La Cava,
Yeah, you're right.
Geez, I didn't get it.
You're not a genius.
No, I'm not. There you go. There you go. Thanks, Miguel. Thanks. You've been lying to me all this. You've been lying to me.
Are you guys having fun doing this podcast? What's the experience like?
It's been great. It's been great. We're having a lot of fun. We're meeting some new people, reconnecting with people that we haven't seen in years. And the reaction from a lot of people out there is they're enjoying it. And that's our goal. We want people to enjoy it, have fun, learn from from our experiences, and meet the prominent people out there in the gaming industry.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for me because I've never done anything like this. I do have an entertainment background as a musician, professional musician, and of course the gaming business, but something like this, I'm so far out of my element. So I like to be challenged, and challenges have been the energy of my life. Challenges have been what's given me current, future opportunities. So challenged in so many ways. I'm not very well spoken. I have a speech impediment. I'm just letting it out there. I'm being very transparent, and I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some people that they need to know that if you have a dream, if you have something you want to do, just go ahead and do it. Just do it, and have fun with it.
I think that comes through. I want to ask Keenan the same question, but it comes through when you watch it. And the word I use is genuine. I don't like things that are phony, disingenuous, jargon based. I just don't too self-important. I like you guys having conversations with people that are interesting. They're fun. I know it goes off script, but those where I think the best moments are found. Mm-hmm. But what about you? You having fun with these characters?
Oh my gosh. I've known Bruce since my MGM days, right? So for me, when they had asked me about it, I said, they go, is there any information you want? I said, no, let's just play it by ear, because of the fact that there are so many podcasts that I learned from, but I was feeling like this bored, but to hear real, true life experiences, that's what engaged me 100%. So I love it. I'm very excited that you're going to be on today too. So, and I get to be a co-host.
Well, you say that now. I mean, you might not feel the same way at the end. I really enjoyed the conversation with Lance Allen. It's funny because I've been around a long time, 20 years, depending on how you count in this industry. And I remember Lance back in the day, he's a nice guy now, but back in the day, he was kind of intimidating. I remember going to see him down in California. I was a little bit afraid of that guy, but now he's like, he's super nice and friendly, but he was a little scary. When you're first in the industry, he's a very well-established guy. He put the little fear of God into you.
Okay. I can see that from that standpoint because he's always been the same. He's always been laid back. Guy, yeah. So because I've been in that same situation. But I'm glad you enjoyed that. Lance is a great person. He's great personality. What did you like most? What story stands out in your mind? Did you remember any particular?
Well, a lot of what we do is what I've done is you create games, then you present them. And most people that are good at creating games, Geoff is the exception. And I think Geoff doesn't mind the selling aspect of it because you have to go to somebody and listen, nobody wants any new games. No, I've been at this 22 years. No one's ever called me and said, hey, Roger, you got any new games I never heard of? I want them now. Never happened, never will. So you really have to put yourself out there and deal with the rejection. And Geoff is good at it.
I've rejected him so many times. I can't count.
So I think we were pitching. I think Lance may have been in Palm Springs.
He was at Fantasy Springs.
Yeah, we were showing him some game back in the day, and it's a little bit, it's a tough dynamic because you're asking him for something, and he asked tough questions, and I probably got a little defensive, and so but as years went on, he went out to Firekeepers, and we come out once in a while, and I just really grew to have a lot of respect for that guy. And again, once you get past that initial, it's a little fear-based, but once you get past that, he's a great guy. And then he and I are friends to this day. Yeah. Until he hears this podcast, he's like, screw you, I'm done with you.
No, he spoke when we let him know that you were going to be on, he was, likewise. And in fact, on LinkedIn, you were probably one of the first persons that acknowledged him with some type of acknowledgement of that you enjoyed it. And he responded right away. I noticed that.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Well, he's retired. He's got nothing else to do but hang out on LinkedIn all day.
Yeah, and blow smoke.
Have jobs like us.
and blow smoke up people's chimneys. So, you know what I'm saying?
All right. So when do we actually start the podcast? This isn't possibly going to be put on the air.
No.
Yes, it
Yeah, we
is.
have to start.
No. If you want to,
you give me a signal.
no. Actually,
start.
no, Roger. In fact, I was going to tell you if we want to say anything, derogatory about somebody, now is a good time.
Oh,
I'm not recording.
I got a list. I got a list
me.
of people over here.
Trust me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
Trust me. Come on.
All right. Our CEO. Let me tell you something about that guy. No.
So do you have?
I'm kidding.
So are there new guys there now since you have a new brand, new name?
Well, not necessarily, but do you want to talk about the new name?
No, not really.
Yes, I would like to know.
No. Talk about what you want to talk about.
I want to talk about the new name.
Okay, that's what I said.
So it is, and I'm going to tell a little story. I'm going to have a little bit of a wind up here because a lot of people are taken aback by the name. Right? Let's be honest. It's not what anybody expected.
No, neither was Shuffle Master or Bally's to me in scientific games.
So I'm going to tell an old story, and if it's too long and boring, you can cut it out. Now I know that Hina, you may be too young to remember this, and Bruce, you may be too old to remember this. But Miguel and I, it's right in our wheelhouse. So remember when the album and the Purple Rain came out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Prince.
do you know what the next album Prince put out was called?
I don't recall. Tell me.
It was called Around the World in a Day. And when you heard the music for the first notes of that album, because you'd heard Purple Rain ad nauseum to the mid 80s.
Mm-hmm.
When Around the World in a Day came out, people were like, what the bleep is that? And an interview with Prince, this is going to connect very soon, I promise. It was an interview with him, and he said, I could have just done the exact same thing. I could have kept the same chord sequence from Let's Go Crazy or Purple. I could have done that, the exact same thing. But what's the point in doing the exact same thing? I'm done with that. I wanted to try something different. So it's analogous to what we went through. We could have called ourselves Star Games, Creative Games, and all the letters of creative could have been spelled in a weird way. And you could have done something, if you wanted to be first in the alphabet, Aardvark Games or last Zizik Game. You could have done anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But our company didn't want to do that. Now, when you put yourself out there, like with that Prince, you open yourself up to
it's risky.
Narrow-minded people.
It's so risky. You can lose long-term clients that you have. The loyal.
When something's different, and again, the safe thing would have been to do something with games in it, XYZ games. You could have done that, but everybody does that. And again, I go back to that Prince comparison because it is true. And, you do face criticism when you go outside the norm. And sometimes you go outside the norm and you fail. Sometimes you go outside the norm and you succeed. But at some point in time, somebody has to be the first one to go outside the norm. Otherwise, we'd all, we never get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the company went through a long process. It was not thought of overnight. And it was really designed to come up with a different type of name that was really, I guess I'll use the word aspirational, or something. You want to create this feeling in people, but it was done intentionally. And again, I give the company credit. They did not take the easy route. And a couple of things will happen over time. It's like anytime Facebook changed to Meta, right? For the metaverse, which exactly nobody understands, myself included.
Metaverse and blockchain and NFTs and
all that stuff. So there's always that moment where something new happens, and there's I forget what they call it, but it's that curve where 10% of the people are, I'm all in.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10% I'm going to call Facebook. I'm going to call Nissan Datsun until I die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But eventually over time,
they come over
unusual,
one at a time.
Yeah. What is unusual or shocking eventually becomes accepted. And I think over time, you're going to see more and more of these companies give themselves more, I'll use the word more exotic names than just XYZ Gaming Co. That's my
well, while you're talking, I'm showing the website, if you don't mind. The website is exotic as I don't know what. This website is amazing.
It is.
Amazing. The colors, the animations. I mean, it's all futuristic. Actually, it looks like that metaverse theme,
Yeah. It has an interesting artistic motif, I guess you'd call it, because you got to realize our company makes a lot of its money online. And that's what's growing as well. Now, luckily for us, brick and mortar is still growing, not at the rate it was, back in the early 2000s, but it is still growing. But there's a lot of not only growth online, there's a lot of influence coming from the online games to the brick and mortar games. And it's a two-way street. But a lot of what's being done online is going to seep into the brick and mortar experience. So it all goes into this
virtual world
arrangement and that's in part where the name is a bit reflective of all of that.
That's a cool one. Is it in any way the name change, a change in the philosophy or direction for the company, or it's just aesthetic thing?
Well, again, and also let me back up. I probably should have started with this. Do you know why we changed our name?
Why?
You don't know? I mean, it's not it seems serious. Most people don't know.
Deals with money, right? Investors.
No,
sure.
we sold. Well, everything has to do with money. We sold off our lottery business. So the lottery business historically, that's where the name Scientific Games came from. Scientific Games, and I'm probably getting the story slightly wrong.
Oh, I see.
Scientific Games was a lottery company that bought WMS and then bought Bally, which had in turn bought Shufflemaster. So the name really belongs, if not maybe it belonged legally, but it also belonged sort of historically and from a brand standpoint to the lottery business. They kept that name. So Scientific Games didn't go away. It just went back where it started with the lottery business.
Does that have something to do with Azerbaijan or something like that, and retail lottery, global market or something?
I know we're the biggest, I keep saying Scientific Games is the biggest lottery company in the world. So they've got lotteries. I mean, if there's a country that you're going to find a Scientific Games lottery there. So that's why people don't. Why did you change your name? We didn't have a choice. We had to come up with something.
Oh, I see.
So it went away. So that was the triggering, and then the process began, which evolved over. I think it was about a year to come up with this and a lot of branding. So to the question Miguel asked, the answer is yes. So we don't have lottery anymore. And we also don't have sports betting anymore. We had a sports betting business, which I think we've either sold it off or it's about to sell off. It's in that period between signing and closing. I think I could be wrong though. By the time you air this, maybe we will have sold. So we are now a games company. Really, we've got online games. We got two things. We've got games,
products and supplies.
We've got games, and we've got technology that powers the game. So card shufflers, systems for casinos, and you've got online games, social games, table games, slot games, e-table games. So the company is really focused towards being this leading provider of games. Basically, anywhere you can play them, whenever you want to play them, on your phone, in a casino, wherever, whenever, forever. That's kind of the way the company's thinking about things. And so it is a conscious rebrand, not just, we got to change the name, think of something. It was very well deliberated.
Now I understand it. Because I couldn't, when I saw on one of the magazines, gaming magazines, digital magazines that I get, that they were changing the name. I said, but why? And it didn't make any sense to me, but it does make sense now with your explanation. It was a split off, and the other company owned that name, so they have to keep it, and you guys had to rebrand yourselves with a new as a new entity.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are upset. I'm hearing it. A lot of people are not happy.
Really?
They really wanted the company to be called Snow Gaming, and I get it.
Well, okay. Still SG, you had it. You had the letters were there.
No, I tell you, because, to tell you the truth, anytime, even with Scientific Games, I never really got used to Scientific Games, the name. When I still refer, us old guys, no, the old guys, Miguel, I'm just a little, I'm a lot younger than you, come to think of it when I look at
No, you're older than me.
No, I still refer to Shufflemaster. I say Shufflemaster, no, Bally.
Or Williams.
And Scientific, I forgot Williams. Williams was in there?
Williams.
Part of
it was way before Bally and Shufflemaster.
I say Shufflemaster, and then I'll say Bally. No, I mean Scientific Games. Now Light and Wonder is actually growing on me a little bit. The website, the name of the website is not getting me. LNW wasn't that creative to me.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I'm going to stop you right there, my friend, because we used to have the longest emails in the industry. Roger.snow@scientificgames.com. And type that thing on with my fat thumbs on a phone. Forget it. Now it's rsnow@lnw.com.
I was
don't
typing.
fine. I'm not
Perfect.
No, I'm good.
You saw I was typing r.snow and couldn't get you for like
Couldn't get
20
me.
minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm saying that I like to be early to be on time, not, on time to be late. So what's happening? I don't know. I heard some noise there just a minute ago.
I was wondering what happened.
So I see, Roger, where did you get this writing passion? Because I've been seeing that you're a poet laureate, and how'd you get that title?
First, that's a joke. Wow, that's a joke.
No.
That's something that was like back in the day that the state, whoever the country or the state appointed someone.
That's a British title.
Thing. Yeah, there's a lot of cheekiness in my stuff. So that's self-appointed. I just put it up there one day, assuming that my boss would say take it down, but he never did.
You could have rolled with that for a while. I can edit that out and you can start over again. So Roger, this poet laureate, where's that title come from? Come on, give me the story.
Well, it was Queen Elizabeth, when right before she knighted me, she did dub me the poet laureate for the gaming industry.
But you are a writer though. I've been reading some of your stuff. I mean, short, burst of it, and you have these like satiric type names, I think, and very the syntax is like unbelievable. And what was there something about the island, and there's something about Scrabble and the word or something.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's too dissimilar to the process of game creating. And I can't, like your music, I can't play music. I don't know, Hina or Miguel, if you have some artistic bent. Maybe you do.
None of my
Miguel,
end.
Miguel, don't say you paint nudes. Please don't say that.
No, I was in sports.
Paints his toenails, but go ahead.
Okay.
But that's about it.
Sports. Okay. Sports. And Hina, anything for you in that realm?
Oh, I'm definitely music, everything, dancing. You got it.
There you go.
You didn't see Hina's Tahitian dance in her podcast?
We did her podcast. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to see it now.
Oh, you got to go back.
Maybe that got censored out for the U.S. audience. We're a bit puritanical over here.
For Las Vegas audience.
We do this for a reason. These are like teasers so people can go back and look at these podcasts, Wait till you see what we're going to ask you to do. But go ahead, keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Coming from Tahiti, the Tahitian dancing was born and raised and instilled in us from the day we were born.
Oh, you're from Tahiti.
I am.
I have never met anybody from Tahiti.
Yes, 100% Tahitian, and I have 21 siblings.
Wow.
We populated the island of Tahiti.
I was going to say, yeah, you're doing your part.
But
your father was the father of the country, yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. So when they asked me to do the tambure, I said, okay, not bad for a 60-year-old woman, right?
Exactly.
So I saw these titles like Misunderstandings Ahead and Career Shortcuts and things, but they mean something else, right?
Yeah, it's always there's a bit of like anything, there's a pattern. We talked about different things that we do. I'm fortunate. My mother was an English teacher, and her mother was like a grammar Nazi, like literally. I mean, you could not conjugate a verb incorrectly when you were 7 years old, or grandma would hit you with a frying pan. Mm-hmm. So you grew up in that environment. And then, so you have that structure, like music. I assume music, dance, sports, they're the fundamentals, right? That's how you're all nodding your heads because you all play. You have to learn to play your scales, chords and whatnot. And Miguel, I don't know what you played baseball. I
played baseball. I went to 2 Central American games and 1 Pan Am games as a high diver.
Oh man! There you go. Yeah. If I could show you, if I could find the picture, it would be great. If I can pull it up right now. Jeez.
Look for it while Roger continues talking.
Oh, I can do that too. I can minimize you guys and pull it up. Miguel's got this awesome picture. He looks like what's the guy's name?
Greg Louganis.
Louganis. Oh, he makes Louganis. He makes look like
he was the greatest. Nobody will be ever like Greg Louganis, ever.
Do I have that picture? Oh, I want to pull that.
You got to find it. So I think it's like anything, and it's hard. It's not hard to talk about it. It's relatively easy, but you have the fundamentals, and then then you have some other ability that you pick up along the way. And I've always enjoyed it. Ironically, I don't like to read. I do like to write. I don't like to read. Oh. And it really comes about from observation. So Roger Gross over at Global Gaming Business Magazine, I don't know how it came about, but my background is as a journalist, and I was not a good journalist. I was a good writer, but a terrible journalist. And that's not self-deprecating. That's not false modesty. That's legit. I even had an editor tell me one time at the Manchester Union Leader, you're a really good writer, but you're a terrible reporter. And luckily he didn't fire me. He said, you know what, we're going to have you write stories that don't require any hard news reporting. But I was a journalist for about 7 or 8 years back in Massachusetts and New England. So that ability doesn't really go away. If anything, you can enhance it over time. So long story short, Roger Gross asked me to do a column one month, and I did. It was okay. And he said, "Can you do another one?" I go, yeah, I can, but I'm eventually run out of ideas. Well, 87 columns later, I haven't run out of ideas yet, and it's all very simple. And I hope it helps. Sometimes people say, "Hey, I liked it," because if you break them down, they're typically some kind of an observation. So again, I was playing Scrabble. I was playing Scrabble, and or Words with Friends, or what it's called, and you'll look at you can't see anything. You just can't. But then you hit the shuffle button, and now I get it. So that's just like life. Sometimes in life you get stuck. You get stuck in a rut, and if you just shake things up, do something different, you can kind of see it from a different perspective.
But where did you got your passion from your family? Do you still write more? Because it seemed like you were writing, judging by the publishing dates, that was a COVID thing. You were doing it mostly during COVID?
No, it's like a lot of things. And by the way, it may be the same with this podcast you're doing. You may labor for a couple of years before all of a sudden people go, wow, it takes off. So I've been doing it for several years. I've written for the newspaper, do guest columns for the newspapers out here, other magazines. I do it once in a while. I got a day job. But once in a while, like I was going to play Scrabble, it'd pop into my head and it'd be like, oh, well, that's actually a good metaphor. So that is sort of the structure is something will happen that I'll observe. It becomes metaphorical because if you can shake your letters up in Scrabble, you can find something. But if you're in a rut in your real life, in your career, what do? Well, what's the equivalent of shuffling those tiles? And a couple of things pop into my head and you do it that way. And this is just how I look at things. And if people like it, great. If they don't, sorry. I try to be funny. So if you're wondering, is he trying to be funny? The answer is usually yes. So then it makes I laugh. My wife laughs once in a while when she's polite though. She has to laugh. So I do a lot of stuff. It's funny. I just something recently, but again, another example of doing something, getting out of your comfort zone. So my son, musical talent must skip a generation because I have none. My son is a wonderful, beautiful, singer and a terrific piano player. So he's been performing in these shows around Las Vegas. And
how old is your son, Roger?
He's 6. He just turned 16 a few months ago.
That's cool.
He's been playing piano since 4. So again, they're the fundamentals. He's getting a little bit of flair. Mm-hmm. So I decided really on spec, which means I'm going to do it. And if the producer likes it, great. If he doesn't, too bad. I wrote a show. I wrote it there. Those 70s songs. I wrote a 70s show. So we had one song for every. I wrote the show and hosted the show, and my son sang Desperado by the Eagles and played piano. So it's another example of practicing what you preach. I have never done. I have no musical talent, but I can write a show. I can pick songs. I can do funny lines in between the songs. Get the insights. 100, 200 people in the audience.
You didn't play an instrument?
I was terrible. I played the saxophone like in 5th grade. I don't know. My parents didn't like me very much. I could have played the drums. Play the saxophone. You're spitting all over the place. It's just I don't know what they were thinking when they did that.
That's interesting.
If I played it right now, it would scare small children, I think. Well, but I wish as Dire Straits said, I should have learned to play the guitar.
Yeah,
that's what I should have like you, my man. Then I'd be cool like you.
Yeah, but listen, I tell you what, it was interesting. In my generation, we didn't have gangs like that kind of gang. We had neighborhood bands, and so we had a neighborhood band that we formed, and we didn't have a bass player. So I grabbed a bass, and it has 4 strings. I says, cool, I don't have to worry about 6 strings. I actually be able to play 4, and I started playing the bass guitar. My mother said, stop playing that junk. Stop playing that Ricky. She was always complaining because she was with her girlfriends after they get off work. They would be partying, and I couldn't play what they were partying to. So anything I was playing was junk. And then I grew up and I blossomed. And then I'm playing, she says, are you still playing that junk? I said, no, actually, I'm playing at the Trump Plaza with this guy named Vince Cardell. I used to be with Liberace. And she's, come on down. I'm at the lounge, you know. So I was playing Rachmaninoff and Tchaikovsky and stuff, and with some Joe Sample in there too. We were playing some jazz, and she cried like I wouldn't. I never believed it. You were back there smoking that marijuana, and you playing that junk and everything.
Hina and Miguel, I got the perfect idea. Next podcast, the three of us will host. We're going to interview Bruce.
Yes.
He's got the best stories. Bruce Uncensored.
Yes,
that's the title already.
But I was like your son. I learned how to play the piano before I spoke English. So I came to the United States only speaking French and Tahitian, and the piano was the only thing that, you know, I gravitated towards, and was, you know, learning how to play the piano before I learned how to speak English. So,
with 22 people in your family, you could have had your family orchestra.
We actually do.
The symphony, you could have had a symphony there.
Yeah. I love the fact that if we don't have a bass guitar, if we don't have anything, go grab a rake, go grab a tub, go grab some string, and we are doing it. And then go grab your spoons and go grab the forks, and we're playing and we're singing. That's all we do. We eat, sing, dance. Eat, sing, and dance.
That is great.
But I did read some of your articles, Roger. They were amazing, especially some of the ones that popped up on LinkedIn. Amazing.
So Bruce is
funny too.
I hope that's a harmonica. Bruce is holding up something. I think it's a harmonica.
Yeah, he plays harmonica too.
He does.
He's on mute.
Yeah,
that's why I was going to play it while I was on mute. You know, it sounds best when I'm on mute.
Yeah, I think there's something that happens when you get older, and I'm officially older now. So is it you do feel sort of compelled to sort of help tell like people that are coming up next, some of the basically help them, you know, avoid the roadblocks, because I assume all of us, we all make mistakes growing up. So a lot of those articles, if you can get through it, you know, if you can get through them, and they're about, I don't know, usually about 800 words. I try to keep it in that range so they're digestible. I'm hoping that there are lessons in there, and hopefully they're phrased in a funny way and in a memorable way, because I believe in one thing. I believe in storytelling, which is why, perfect example, if you ask me to talk about innovation, which I get asked, I was at MGM, and they asked me to go over there and talk about innovation. I start off with the story of Viagra and how Viagra was created, because it's an interesting story, but I will get your attention immediately. If I tell you, here are the 7 main key ingredients to innovation. Number 1, observation. Number 2, but if I tell you that how Viagra came to be in the marketplace, and depending on the audience, I tell the story differently. If I tell you that story of how Pfizer created Viagra, you are at strict attention. No pun intended. You are. I mean, so it's the same thing. There's a lot of things like that. So I'm a big believer in storytelling to make a point, because the human mind. I forget my kids' birthdays, but I know every line from Shawshank Redemption. I know exactly what Red's going to say: "Get busy living" or "Get busy dying." Because stories. That's how stories came to be. They stick with people. So I learned that from. I mean, I know Steve Wynn's not talking about him anymore. But back in the day, when I opened up Bellagio, he told us about customer service, and he didn't tell us about the 5 ingredients. He told us a story. It was probably made up. It was probably a made up story. But 24 years later, almost 24 years. It opened in October, I think, of '98. When you say customer service, I think of that story. So what I tell people through these, that's why if you look at the stories, if you read the columns, they typically start with the story. It could be John Vandevelde blowing the British Open back in 1999 or whatever it was. It could be just, there's a million things it could be. And then you take that and you use it as a metaphor for your own life and your own existence. You can just see something, get a little bit better. I'm from Boston, Larry Bird. I hated him growing up. I was a Dr. J guy, but Larry Bird, every summer, he would get a little bit better, work on his left hand, work on this. If you get a little bit better every year, over time, you're going to be terrific.
Mm-hmm.
It's like compound interest for your intellect.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just pick up tips from people, and you can learn from anybody. I can learn from you guys. Maybe I can learn from Geoff. I've learned a lot from Geoff in game development. And with Geoff, it's not done until it's right. You know it. It cannot be less than perfect. Mm-hmm. That's the message, the lesson I've got from Geoff. Because sometimes like, you know what, this answer works, but you think, not. And that a guy like Geoff would never, ever let it go unless it was in his mind perfect. So if you learn from everybody, I'm not a big fan. I graduated college. I wasn't the best. I was terrible, not terrible, but C's get degrees, as they say, and that was me. But you can learn from every experience out there, good and bad. And if you just open your mind and become observant.
Do you like to teach, Roger? Do you feel like you are a teacher?
I don't think I'm anything to be like that. I don't know. I do speak at that executive development program every year that Bo Barnhart puts on for UNLV. It's up in Tahoe.
Mm-hmm. I went to that in 2007.
2007. Okay.
Bill Eddington and
Bill Eddington. Oh yeah, legend. God
rest his soul. Yeah.
And McDonald.
Andrew
McDonald. Yeah. Actually, I just heard from Andrew McDonald a few minutes ago. He's in Singapore. And
I want to get him on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And so I go up there and I do it, but I don't. If you're to be a teacher, you really have to be dedicated. I think I'm better like a bumblebee. I'll buzz in, and then I'll buzz out. I just don't know. I like to just come in, give some lessons. I care about people. I do a lot of work with folks here at the company. And I really genuinely care and want them to succeed. Mm-hmm. And I want people to hit their potential. It's for whatever reason, it's important to me. And a lot of people, they have potential. They just don't know how to extract it, how to get it. They don't. So I kind of help them. And, I always tell people two things. I said it the other day to a guy who runs a big casino here in town. There's your job and there's your career. You can be really good at your job, but you also have to be really good at your career and managing that, because they're not the same thing. Because we've all seen people, right? Listen, to be honest, we've all worked with people. How did this guy get that? He's really good at his career. And people dismiss it. Well, it's equally as important. The great successful business people in the world are great at both their jobs and their careers. And it's not and a lot of people dismiss that. Oh, that's office politics. You want to get ahead.
That's interesting, Roger. I can almost debate that with you a little bit, but I don't think I'll do good debating with you. Just look at you. Got your hands up already. You got your salivating. Because I have some guys in my mind that don't know diddly, but I guess they know the big picture. They understand the big picture more than anything else. They don't know the granular because they never did it, but they're well-spoken. They know
sell themselves real good too.
I think maybe you misunderstood me. We're saying the same thing.
Okay.
We all see people that get ahead. You've seen people like, how do they do that? And maybe you get a little bit envious of them, but they have something. They have the ability. They are good at managing their careers. They're good at convincing people to do things. And by the way, we all have to be that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've survived. I don't know how many acquisitions, CEO changes. You have to have, you have to be good at managing your career. But I do tell people that they're not the same.
And your job.
But a lot of times people are better at their job than they are at their career, and they get frustrated, they get stuck, and they get disgruntled. And most people really want to be doing more. Like you guys decided to do this. And what I love about it is I hate a lot of things in life, but I hate when people criticize, when they sit back on the sidelines and they go, that's stupid, that's dumb, podcast, those guys. What I love about what you guys are doing is you're putting yourself out there. Mm-hmm. You can really embarrass yourself. You guys could look like idiots. You really could. Absolutely. And you probably crossed your mind. Mm-hmm. And you've all built up credibility. You could squander it all with this. But this is what I love. It's people like you that are the pioneers. You try things. And by the way, when it becomes really successful, I've been listening since day one. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But and there were those guys, the Max Bet Media guy, Landon and Mike McKinney.
I love that podcast.
So do I.
I love it.
They're out there, dude. They're on the tightrope. There's no net, none. They quit their jobs.
I love it, man. But for some reason, I'm thinking, are they part of Light and Wonder?
No, I think they get involved with different companies. They were there at our name change event. They've been around.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I have great admiration for people that do that, because it's easy to take the safe route. Mm-hmm. It's easy. They could have stayed at AGS selling slot machines, making good money, washing David Lopez's car once in a while. No, it's a good joke.
No, they do a good job. I watched them.
He's too cheap to pay anybody.
I watched those. They really pull it off well, and I don't try to model myself with that. There's one thing about me. I don't try to do something like somebody else. The best I can be is myself. The worst I can be is someone else. And exactly. I always say that because I can't be somebody else. I'm naturally being me. I'm naturally an idiot. I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? I'm a smart idiot though. Can't mess with this here. I'm the smartest idiot out there. You know what I'm saying?
But I have tremendous respect. And a lot of times I say things that come off as sarcastic. This is genuine.
No, I appreciate it.
Admiration for people that do what others don't want to. They'll talk about it, but they won't actually do it. Or they'll do it once or twice and they'll give up. Mm-hmm. But those guys at MaxBet, you guys or others, people like Geoff. Geoff doesn't have a $7 billion company behind him. Geoff's out there on the tightrope every day.
By himself.
If you're in sales, if you're in these positions where you can't hide, you're really out there every day and essentially combat, fighting for your existence. I have tremendous admiration, and to be in a fair bit of envy. I wish I had more of that entrepreneurial spirit. There are just people that are out there that just have it, and they leave the safe jobs. There's so many of them out there that give up the bird in the hand to go after the 10 in the bush. And sometimes they don't get it. I know, like the company Tangam, big fan of Prem and those guys. They've been they tried something, optical chip reading, card reading years ago. It really didn't work, and they pivoted to this brilliant idea about yield management, automatically putting
I saw that.
Yeah, and again, those guys could have taken safe jobs, and those are the folks. And I'll draw the analogy with our name. It's going back to being safe. Do you want to play it safe, or do you want to try to make a difference? Because if you try, people are going to goof on you. They are behind your back, maybe to your face once in a while. It'll never come from me. There's the old saying that no one that's really trying to do something laughs at you. It's always the person that's sitting back. It's the cynic, whatever that Teddy was, Kipling or Teddy Roosevelt, the critic. I forget who wrote it. That poem about the man in the arena, and then the person that criticizes. It's easy to criticize. Mm-hmm. So in a roundabout way, I have great admiration for what it is you guys are doing. And I know this is your last podcast.
I appreciate it. No. This is not even going to be published. I'm sorry.
I don't blame
you. You've been on mute to the. No, I'm just kidding, man.
Oh, yeah, good.
Roger, I'm telling you, I see your support, and actually, Geoff and I were just talking yesterday. And I wish I can show you the text that I was saying how supportive.
You got to be careful. It's a family podcast, Bruce, and I've seen Geoff's phone.
But I was commenting about how much support that you give us, and that you seem to be anxious, and because we were communicated a few times back and forth in preparation, and I said, I hope I'm not bothering him, and then you answer right away, you know what I mean, and so I said that means a lot, because. And fortunately, we've had, and I said this yesterday on another conversation, that we've had a list of guests thus far, and even our co-host here, Hina, stepping in. She's she's on the A list of people in the industry that's highly respected. And to have that kind of support and recognition, because we don't want to bring down your credibility. He says, "Oh no, I'm not going on there. I'm not going to bring the."
Already beating you to the punch. But I circle. There are just certain themes, and there are people that and I'm not a jargon guy. I like things that are genuine. I like straight conversation. I like just getting to the point. It's what I enjoy. And again, there's something anything that has. And I'm a casino guy. If not for casinos, I don't know what I'd be doing. But I'm very fortunate that I'm in this industry, and anything that helps the industry. So what you guys do, what Landon and Mike do, what anybody else there does, doing the John Bruford over in England with his podcast, anything that helps the industry, I think is good for the industry, and we should do what we can to support it, because hey, we're all in this together. And if you go back,
Absolutely.
not that long ago, I'm old enough to remember 2 years ago. I'm old enough to remember 2020 and how looking out at my house and you seeing all the casinos on the strip and they're all shut down. Mm-hmm. So this, I do not take this for granted. I do not take it lightly. No. Sometimes maybe I come across that way, but I don't. It's really important, really serious to me. And what you guys do is important, and I support it completely. But I will never speak to any of you again if you air this. You'll be hearing from my attorneys.
Put it on immediately tomorrow.
Roger, we've talked about a number of things, but I like to ask you, what's new now with Light & Wonder when it comes to games? Through the years, I've been involved in many of your new product line, and I know that you guys are at the forefront when it comes to developing slot machines games and something that attracts the public. So, what's new and exciting for that you will be showing in the next G2E?
Yeah, there's something interesting that. Because a lot of times something will happen and you won't really understand it until you have the benefit of hindsight. So as bad as COVID was, the one, and when the casino shut down, as bad as that was for business, it actually did create an interesting opportunity. Because a lot of our development teams, they're working on fixes. Oh, can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, that was weird. There are development teams who are always working on stuff that's in the field and upgrades. And so there's a new set of regulations in Macau. We're working on whatever. But when all that shut down, it gave them an opportunity that nobody foresaw. And the opportunity was to create some cool stuff because you're not doing that daily maintenance and upgrades and whatnot. So you're seeing the benefits of that now. We've got some incredible new slot cabinets. And the names are the Cascada dual screen or the mural. They're big, bright, double curved cabinets that stretch up to the ceiling of a casino. And we've got some great game mechanics that have come out. Got some great games. We've got the woman that used to work well, Shuffle Master. She's from Australia. Her name is Quinn. She did 88 Fortune. She's got a whole family of games. Our teams here in Vegas, Ultimate Firelink, got some phenomenal slot games and phenomenal slot cabinets. We've also got something we got a couple of things going on in cashless, digital wallets for casinos, and a little project that I'm really excited about. We have this, we call it ATM. It's like, I see you see ATM, you know what that means. Yeah. So it's a tabletop. It's essentially a tabletop ATM. You don't get cash from it, but you can put your debit card in and in 30 seconds buy chips. So it's very cool. We've got new table games coming out. We've got new progressives coming out. We've got a progressive with 2 spots. You can have 2 different criteria for winning the progressive. It always amazes me because sometimes people from the outside think that there's not a lot of innovation on the brick and mortar side. It's all online now. There's never been more innovation. And sometimes you can be another column I wrote. If the Earth is we're moving at 900 miles an hour in a circle and around you, but you're so close to it, you don't feel it. So it's the same thing in business. Sometimes you're so close to something, you don't realize how much is actually going on. And in the gaming space, and you're going to see it at G2E this year. You saw it a little bit last year, but it was smaller attendance. But G2E this year, I mean, we're going to be loaded for bear. And all of that, it's going to be fantastic. It's funny. It's only not even it's April tomorrow, I guess. Mm-hmm. We filmed this on the 27th. Sorry, 31st. Sorry. We're talking about G2E right now. So it's this continuum, Miguel, of development. And by the way, part of development is some things don't work. Ultimate Texas Holdem, which everyone, I love that. Everyone, well, guess what? There were 4 other versions of that failed. And you talk to Geoff. Geoff talks about Blackjack Switch. I think he mentioned on the podcast. There were different versions of that didn't work. So sometimes innovation isn't what people think it is. Sometimes they think it's like you're in the shower and you get an idea. A lot of times it's just this grinding through of iteration after iteration until you finally get it done. That sounds like a downer.
You're muted, Bruce. Bruce, you're muted.
Bruce.
Don't tell him. I like it's better this way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What do you think is going to happen with this? There's the cloud-based technology, and there's this
That's funny.
All that,
dude. You're asking the wrong guy. For years, I literally thought there was like a cloud.
Yeah.
And that's what all that. That's how I was like, by the way, when I first read back in the early 90s, I read the book Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Before the movie came out, I'm like 30 pages ago. Jesus Christ, this is real. Like they did it, brought dinosaurs back. So I don't technology. Well, I don't know.
My question is not really that though, Roger. And by the way, the DR, and next time you come, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take you to Jurassic Park. This is Jurassic Park here without the animals. It is lush. It's amazing. Is there a baby crying back there? Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So, okay, it's not mine, but anyway.
How do you know?
I swear. I swear.
Yeah. We'll get you on Montel Williams and we'll figure it out.
Right.
No wonder
and
you are
muted.
You
are like Omori. And Bruce, in the case of Bruce, you are.
Oh man, I never seen that show. No, I'm kidding. But this is Jurassic Park here. I'm telling it for real. This is Jurassic Park. But going back to my question was, you know, they have the what's the other the artificial intelligence and all of that technology and stuff. But do you see? Well, I'm asking you too, Hina and Miguel. This because I'm seeing about this metaverse stuff and this, like I said, NFTs and blockchain and all this other technology coming out and Bitcoin. That has somewhere along the line, somebody's going to put all that, integrate all of that stuff into casino operations. I'm sure it's going to happen. We're going to see slot machines with virtual, you know, conditions.
Reality, reality.
Yeah, we hired a guy, is our chief strategy officer, Mike Laureate, really sharp guy, comes from outside of gaming, and he's been leading up a lot of these conversations. And I've been brought into them. And I understand them fairly well. The technology behind it, I don't understand at all. But as far as what, you know, I know what an NFT is. I understand the premise or the thesis of blockchain. And we are, and I assume that everybody else, Aristocrat, IGT, they're all probably doing the same thing.
Trying to figure it out.
It's out trying to figure out what exactly is it. And by the way, and there are, every once in a while, you'll see this. Like for a while, it was downloadable games. It never really panned out.
No.
Not to the extent that they wanted. Same thing with skill-based games. That was de rigueur 5-6 years ago. You don't hear much about it anymore. And I'll never ever, if there's something about NFT or whatever it is, you dive in, you learn as much as you can, and maybe it doesn't work today, but maybe down the road there'll be something. It's that residual effect of what you learned. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important to not be closed-minded to anything. A lot of that's never gonna work. Oh, you don't say never say never.
Never say never.
So all of this, I understand what the metaverse is. It seems crazy to me that I will live my life through a pair of Oculus goggles. Yeah. And online I'll have friends and I'll be mowing my virtual lawn. I don't mow my regular lawn. I'm gonna mow a virtual lawn. I don't get it.
You're making money with that stuff.
But I have a 13-year-old daughter that plays these games. And I ask her, and she's built a house in whatever Roblox or
buy real estate.
They buy real estate.
Yeah,
it's a different. Yeah, I trust me. What is this $1.99 charge? Oh, I bought it. Whatever. Like,
yeah.
So it's not us. It's and what happens to a lot of people. And music is the perfect example. Most people stop listening to the music after they graduate high school. They don't know what's popular anymore. Maybe Hina's the exception, but. This technology comes along, and because we don't know it, we didn't grow up, we immediately dismiss it. Mm-hmm. And by the way, you can dismiss stuff a lot of the time and be right just by luck, because most things don't stick. So Mark Zuckerberg, I don't know the guy, but I think he's pretty smart. He likes the idea of the metaverse so much he changes the name of his company that he founded. He changes it to Meta. There's got to be some Bitcoin. Do I really understand it? No, but I got a little bit just in case. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like believing in God. Maybe just in case everyone's right.
I don't want to pray. I want to pray anyway.
I don't want to miss out. And I understand all the mechanics of it. No, NFTs, yes. NFTs to me are basically it's like a digital baseball card. Mm-hmm. That's it. You can sell it. It's authenticated. You can buy it and sell it.
All to itself.
Some of them actually have utility. They can be used as currencies in games. Mm-hmm. There's something there. And I tell people, do not dismiss it. And you have to be willing. I just talked to MGM about this. You have to be willing to look like a complete idiot if you want to be in the space of innovation. And luckily for me, I've got no problem looking like I'm a complete idiot. I've got no problem whatsoever doing it because
you must have read my book. Go ahead.
How
to be an idiot.
Best idiot
you can be. You know.
But there is something to it. And this world, you know, is somewhat foreign to me, but I'm immersing myself in it. Our company is. We've got a great guy, this Laureate, he's super smart. He's leading the charge internally. And we've got a bunch of, you know, creative people, and we're trying to figure something out with it. And, you know, it's a bit of a land grab because whoever gets there first is going to win.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The former company I used to work for, they had put a game out. So my son is a true gamer. So I had him, I said, do me a favor, play this and then let me know what you think, right? He was already finished, done, kind of almost broke the game. He goes, that took me like 10 minutes, Mom. That was done, right? Yeah. So I went, okay, right? But went back with the information, right? So then they said, oh, we didn't think about that. And then they, you know, tried and true again, right? So what you're saying is so true. If something is not working right then and there, keep going. But whoever does end up getting that to where some of these gamers and everything else are going, oh my God, this is really super fun. Boom.
I couldn't agree more. So when I tell that Viagra story, it dovetails.
How do you know I was thinking? Go ahead.
Well, again, they were not trying to do what they did. So I also connected immediately to Shuffle Master. So everybody has seen the card shuffler that's in a poker table.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the
single deck.
The single deck called the deckmate.
Deckmate.
80% of the poker tables in the world have deckmates. The deckmate was designed with absolutely zero intention of ever putting it onto a poker table. Zero. I was there. It was designed for single deck 6-5 blackjack, which was just taking off in Las Vegas, if you can recall, back in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't sell it for single deck blackjack. Nobody wanted it. It's crazy. The players would accept, I'll take 6-5, but I'm not playing against a card shuffler. I'm a sophisticated. It was crazy, but they wouldn't do it. And then one of our sales guys, a guy named Niall Konachek, was down in the California card rooms, and I think he got create like an out of the blue order from, I think it was Hawaii Gardens or one of the big card rooms down in LA. Mm-hmm. And that's how it began. It was a customer said, I don't want it for blackjack, but put it in poker.
When did that happen? Because I remember them on the single deck games that we had the deck mates, but when did it
it's funny if Dave Lopez is listening to this, or Josh Martin,
I didn't hang out in the poker.
They're screaming. I know the exact date. I'm going to say it was 2003, 2004.
I didn't hang out in the poker rooms until I was here in Punta Cana, really, because our poker was way on the other side near the garage, and everywhere we were. So I didn't hang out too much in the poker room.
I put them on poker tables in South America in 2007.
So the point is that when you try, so again, go back to the Viagra, the metaverse, NFT, whatever it is, like you have to try things and be willing to be completely wrong, because Shuffle Master, that product revolutionized poker, and it was never ever. And anyone that says otherwise is making the story fit the facts. It never happened. It was designed for blackjack, because I remember the arguments were they don't have power in these poker. Well, they're going to dig a trench. Oh, what the dealer going to hold the shuffler in his hand, in his lap? They're going to dig a hole. They're going to cut a hole. And if you look now, all of those things that were dismissed by the leading shuffler company in the world, the undefeated shuffler company for 30. Now it's never going to work.
Fits perfectly.
Revolutionary. Worked perfectly.
Perfectly.
So that really, again, that's the philosophy. You see these things, and it's like you just have to try, because even if you're wrong, if there's something that will come out of it. Now, maybe not. Maybe 9 times out of 10 it fails, but who cares?
So what's on the scale of that, like that right now, Raj? I don't mean to cut in, but what's on the scale like now? If you can identify something right now that's similar to that scenario, what is it that people are saying, no, we're not paying attention? And is there something that is like on the board somewhere, but to the side?
There's a lot. I'll try to narrow it down a bit. So one is, there's this talk about NFTs and cryptocurrencies, and how do you get those into slot machines? So there will be ideas. Companies like ours will try things. Maybe they work.
It's going to happen.
There's still skill-based gaming is, it's like the Mark Twain line. The rumors of its death are greatly exaggerated, or demise are greatly exaggerated. It's still out there. And I think there are elements there that can be incorporated into games. Nobody has figured it out yet. They're trying to figure out that lock, and they haven't cracked it yet.
What's a skill-based game? Because we're going to be talking to one of the guys there who used to be my boss. He works for the Next Gaming or something, I think it's called, skill-based games.
Yeah, I think it was Gameco, and there's another company. They had a lot of games where there was an element of skill. So I guess I'm trying to think of something that's easy to understand. They're like a basketball shot. You could. It was almost like playing a video game.
It's a slot product or something, right?
Slot product. Yeah, it's a slot product completely. But there is an element of skill to the game. So the more skilled you are, theoretically, the better you would do. And again, that was a big deal. They had some new regs in Nevada a few years ago that opened this up. And the expectation was, hey, the floodgates have opened. All the water's going to rush through, and kind of a trickle. And I would say something like, electronic poker tables. So electronic table games, which is funny. By the way, I was quoted in a magazine article like 20 years ago saying that electronic table games were the stupidest idea in the history of the industry. By the way, you mentioned Andrew McDonald. Every time I see him, it reminds me of that. Remember that time you said, yeah, I was wrong. Okay. All right.
Now, Andrew and I brought in
Rapid
Roulette back in, that was back in 98. 99. Yep. He was in Australia, and then I got in touch with him through Jim Kilby, and we took that game, but that was interesting.
Yeah. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm wrong plenty of times, but that's the lesson. You make that mistake once, you dismiss something out of hands once, and then going forward, you now give everything at least a chance.
Invest.
So I think you're going to see electronic poker tables, which a lot of companies tried to do over the years, and they make sense. No dealer, no rake. There's a rake, but no tipping. They never really took off. Online poker, it's the same experience with brought to the casinos. I think those might get another go. I think something right now, cashless gaming hasn't taken off. It's good. Okay. It's getting acceptance, but it hasn't hit that inflection point yet. Like anything else, like that Malcolm Gladwell book, The Tipping Point. Things kind of also something happens and it disrupts the trajectory dramatically. So we're doing it. I know everybody's doing it. I think Aristocrat, a lot of companies are doing it, and we're attacking it. But this is why I have a terrible fear of being second, because being second is the last place. Because in these innovative areas, you got to be first. Incumbency matters so much, especially with technology. You got to get out there first. So we are constantly working and tweaking and updating and revising. It's a constant I wish it were easier. I wish like the idea just popped. Oh, I know what to do. You do that, and then we sit back and go play golf. That'd be a lot more fun.
Your fear is, and I'm looking at it as the same way. I'm reading about metaverse and NFTs and things like this. For an example, I'm trying to get rid of that word like this. But anyway, it is. I have the fear of being left out. I don't want to be left out. I still want to be, evolving, because I'm 35 now, and being at 35, it's like the best years of my life. I'm in the prime of my life right now.
Are these like horse years or something? Or how does that work?
He's doing them in the Dominican pesos. Exchange rate.
Got to convert that. Okay.
60 to 1. 60 to 1.
Read my lips.
I think you see that with all people. And again, it's funny. I don't consider myself innovative or creative at all. And it's not false. I don't. I think people like Geoff are. I think they have a gift. I don't have that gift. It's like Geoff can play the piano. He can sing. He's probably never had a lesson.
Oh, whoa. When you've been drinking, you are, what are you taking? Oh, no. You heard the story? I know I'm getting off topic, but did you hear the story that we were hanging out? Because Geoff and I have been hanging out for over 20 years, and when we hang out, okay? So we're at these parties. Okay. There's a piano, and I said this story. I know it's redundant. I had at the piano, and I sit there, and I can, I play a little bit. Here's my piano right back here. In fact, I can hit the chords. But anyway, so I'm cool. So I'm playing my standard, Don't go changing, trying. And then I'm doing some Luther, and I got a little bit of Prince in there and some other cool stuff. And Geoff will fight me to get the attention because he's had all the attention with everybody, signing autographs. He's the inventor. He's the inventor of games. This is Geoff Hall. Oh, he invented that. He's got everybody's hanging out now. He wants to take it. I'm getting a little attention, so he gets competitive. He wants to get some attention. Let me play the piano. Okay, go ahead, Geoff. And his favorite song, Delilah. And he'll just mess it up. Just mess it up.
See, I didn't know. He had me fooled. I'm not an expert. Not an expert. The point was really that a lot of people, I think everybody has creativity in them. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people just, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. Because they've been tricked by movies and by TV thinking it's this bolt of inspiration. No. But a lot of innovation, it's like there's the saying that you ask me about writing is rewriting. Good writing is a paradox. Good writing is written over and over and over again and revised over and over and over again. So when you read it, you felt like it came out perfectly. Mm-hmm. That's the paradox. It looks like it came off the top of your head, but it's the result of these hours of laboring over what word to use. How does it smooth? What's the tempo of it? It's all music, but it's all done to make it appear like it just came out perfectly the first time. Mm-hmm. So a lot of creativity is that. So we had a game contest here. We do like game contests and Chuck come up with the game. A couple of years ago was won by this guy, Mark Donadio. He's an accountant. He beat SWAT game developers. He had this really interesting blackjack idea, and it was like he won. So that's right. I'm creative. Most people are more creative. They don't give themselves enough credit. So I like that. I like stories like that because there's a guy, when you meet him, he's got everything but the pocket protector in there. He's just he's an accountant. You want him doing your taxes. And he came up with an incredibly creative idea.
That's one thing I like about the company that I'm with right now is because coming from the operations side as a slot director for Caesars, which was my former job, coming up with all these different types of things, right? And so when a new technology came out, I said, hey, let's, if it didn't work well, I said, hey, why don't we try doing it this way? And because we could sell it this way and that way and all these other things. And every once in a while we'd get this, no, we're going to boo-hoo it. This company said, perfect, let's do it, right? So if it fails, we keep going, but by talking to everyone, by watching everyone, by observing everyone, by watching all of my casino players, by listening to all the casino players, by observing the different age groups of the casino players, boom, we got it. We did it. We did it for everybody, not just for this one genre of casino players. We did it for everyone.
Yeah, the lesson, you're right. The lesson there is a lot of people, it'd be great if everything worked the first time out of the box. That'd be wonderful, but that's not reality. Mm-hmm. So you do that and it fails. And most people are like, well, we failed. It's time to do something else. But you got to go in there in the rubble and dig things. And it's hard. It's emotional. I put a lot of time into these games. And when people hate them, it's not fun. I want to jump off the stratosphere. But you have to be able to go in. They've got nets up. Don't worry. They've got you have to be able to go into the rubble and find things, and maybe it happens a lot. And I'll go back to the founder of Shuffle Master, John Breeding. He developed a single deck card shuffler. By the time he finished, it took 10 years. By the time they got done with approximately 10 years, Blackjack had moved on to 6 decks and 8 deck shoes. There was no market for it. So what did he do? He disbanded the company and he went and got a job selling cars. No, he said, I'm going to make a game that requires a single deck shuffler. I'm going to make, Let It Ride. What he did, which is crazy in hindsight, crazy. And that allowed him, that paid for kept the company in business, sold a game, sold a shuffler, and enabled this great innovation that has changed the industry. Mm-hmm. It's the people that sometimes, some people, you can, if you fail 75 times in a row, maybe you should go sell used cars.
Well, that's Michael Jordan. That's the shot. How many shots did he miss before he made,
Yeah, go on.
Or Ernie Moody famously tried to sell his triple play video poker to everybody. That's the story. And now he could buy us and sell us for fun. So now again, like I said, that just, at some point, no matter how hard, if you're not good at something, trying over and over again is a waste of time. But if you have something that fails, a lot of times you can go in there and dig things out and take parts from it and do something like you just mentioned, or Shuffle Master's done, or all companies have done. Here's the problem with business people. That's why I'm not a business person. They always make it seem, we knew all along about the poker shuffler. We knew it. No, you didn't. You had no idea. Just admit it. It's okay to get lucky. We got lucky. We were innovating. We tried. It didn't work the way we wanted it, but who cares? Viagra, you know what? They sold probably 20 billion of those little blue pills. What do they care? They didn't cure angina, which is what they wanted to do. So it's okay to be wrong. But again, this is my nature, and I like to think
you're going to tell us honest. You're going to tell us that Viagra story. You're going to tell it to us before you get out of here, because you keep teasing. You keep teasing.
Which version do you want to do? Let's do that. The really big.
I've got G, R, and NC-17. I can tell it 3 ways.
I want the R.
Or also, we put on our podcast is no children. It's public, but it's not intended for children. So
you can always bleep.
Go ahead. I can edit it out later. Go ahead. Come on. Bring it.
For real?
Yeah, for real. You signed the release. So, you signed the release, so we got you.
Roger.
I'll tell the abridged version of it. So again, you go back, it's the late 80s, early 90s. And again, angina is a serious heart condition. It's the blockage of the main artery into the heart. And obviously, if you don't get blood to the heart, it's not going to work out well for you. You're going to die. So how do you alleviate that? How do you increase circulation? How do you increase circulation the blood flow to this very important organ in your body? How do you do that? So they're testing different drugs. And it wasn't just Pfizer, a bunch of other ones. But, they're doing it. And then you imagine at some point there was a focus group. You imagine at some point they give this drug to some patients, and then all of a sudden half the patients have something.
Things starts looking up. Things start looking up.
Just all of a sudden, hey. So, and then you tell
my heart still hurts.
In the NC-17 version, the doctor's name is Dr. Johnson. But
I'm sure.
So you tell the story in a funny way to get people's attention and to get them to remember it. But the message of the story is, think about it. But they could have been like, God damn it.
Searching for something else.
God, what did we do? See, scope. All right, change the formula, do this, add this enzyme, add this protein, whatever they're going to do that. But they didn't. Somebody said, well, wait, hold on. Yeah, okay. We'll get to Viagra. We'll get to it in a minute, but hold on. This solves a different problem. And that turned into what Viagra is. And there are so many stories. The Slinky was developed by accident. The guy that did.
Okay, tell us that. What's that story? The Slinky.
It was a guy in a. I think it was the Slinky.
The Slinky.
I know the Slinky is. I want the story.
It's funny. I've got so many props. I'm like Carrot Top in my office. I got dice. I don't have a Slinky.
Or Gallagher.
Do you have a Slinky?
No, I know what a Slinky is. Jesus Christ, guys! I couldn't afford a Slinky when I was a kid.
My understanding is that it was developed by someone who worked in a submarine in the Navy, because it's not the most stable environment. You have something on it'll wobble, but it won't fall off. So it was something to put things on that it was functional. It wasn't a toy. And then the famous one is the guy that discovered penicillin because he left his dishes out. And my point is a lot of this stuff happens. So the Viagra story is just. I gave you the G version, by the way, the abridged version. But the story is important because everybody laughs when they hear it, and most people don't know it. But that's how it came to be. And my opinion is, it's not quite a theory. I don't know. I have enough evidence to be a theory, but my opinion is a lot of things happen that way. Mm-hmm. But companies being companies, they don't want it to look like things occurred from happenstance. I don't mind saying that things occurred from happenstance. I'm fine with it, because the real story is that we were trying to do something. We were trying to revolutionize blackjack, and we only revolutionized poker. Our bad. And a lot of this happens in other industries as well. And it's just obviously the fact I'm yammering on and on about it tells you how important it is to me. And that's what I love about this company is really smart people, and smart people are competitive. So if I'm in a room with some that we're going to come up with ideas, you're on edge.
Whoever came up with the name, whoever came up in the group of people that came up with Light and Wonder, they have a huge burden. They have a huge responsibility, rather, that it has to be successful. There has to be a lot of motivation to be successful because it's risky in the first place. And the fact that it's such a multi-recognized or multi-billion-dollar organization, that to put that
you do
reputation on the line.
You're right. Yeah, you can't call yourself. That's a good point. You can't call yourself Light and Wonder and be a fifth place slot machine company.
Mm-mm.
You can't. That name now. Ultimately, it's won in the battlefield. The name is going to be no casino's not going to care either way. If the games work, it's an ambitious name. It's a punch. It's a bit of a punch in the. It's okay. This is who we are. This is who we aspire to be. Go ahead, make your stupid jokes if you want. That's fine. We're going to kick your ass out here.
I like the name now. It's grown on me already.
Yeah.
The first 2 days, I'm like,
nice.
Light and Wonder. Light and Wonder, and because I still say scientific games, but it's rolling off my tongue now.
That's
because of your explanation, Roger. That actually really truly opened up, everyone's. For me, open up your minds, right, to new invention. Different differentiator. What is it different? Because I tell that when I was the director at Caesars, I told all my employees, look, we have the exact same games as everybody else. We have the exact same food, hotel, restaurant, everything. The only thing that nobody else has on that strip are you. Yeah. Nobody else has you. Perfect. So I need you to be you. I need you to have your personalities out there. I need you to be that differentiator. And Light and Wonder is that differentiator between everybody else.
They laughed at Steve Wynn, and when did the Mirage open?
Think about Steve Wynn. Yeah.
Back in 1990, 91, 1991.
That's sorry.
Volcano, White Tigers. Remember that?
Yes.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Ridiculous.
$80 show.
Not,
An $80 show.
Let me put this in the time capsule. Let me make a prediction. So the business being the business is consolidation. There are new companies coming in. Companies change their name for a variety of reasons. I think the era of calling yourself XYZ Gaming Company Incorporated is over. I think you're going to see, what is it? Imitation is the serious form of flattery. I think you're going to see companies going forward, coming up with exotic type names, unusual type names, thought-provoking type names, not the same stuff that they've been calling themselves forever. I think you're going to see that next. But again, Shakespeare said, "What's in a name?" Does it in essence to the player? It doesn't matter. We have put this out there, and we've put a bit of a target on our back because of the name. That's fine. You want to come after us? That's fine. We got to kick your ass out in the field. We have to. We can't just say it. Words are easy. You got to get in there and out innovate, out create, out work, out hustle, out think, out everybody. And it's tough. This is a tough record. These other companies, I'm not going to mention them, but they know who they are, and they're good too. They're good. So this is not a cakewalk. We have to get out there and we have to go toe to toe with the best in the world. And history will determine if we made the right decision.
Just this website alone, man, when I see this here, because I like stuff like this. This is so cool, man. That says something. It's something as simple as a website. That says something. The colors.
Well,
I thought my picture was going to be on the cover on the front of the website.
I look for your picture. I look for your name, Roger.
Right. Thank you.
I can't find your name, Roger. They got to do a rewrite on here or something.
Well, if you take all the letters, it ends up spelling snow somewhere.
Shake them up.
But I think, Roger, that as long, you can change the name of a company. You can change many things about a company, but as long as you don't change what made the company, the service that you give, the product, the quality, all that is what the customer really wants. I started dealing with Bally back in 2007 when I bought the first system for Conrad in Punta del Este. And I went to Las Vegas. I met with many different systems, and I came to the conclusion that I had to fight Caesars because Caesars had another system and they wanted me to buy the same system they had. And my battle with them was listen, I went and I met with all the system people out there. The only ones that came up with all the answers that I had was Bally. Yeah. So That's why I want to buy that one, because the other ones, every time I ask a question, they said, "Oh, Joe is the one that knows about that. He didn't come in today. Is the system in Spanish? No, but we're working on it. How far are you? We don't know." So I asked Bally, "Is the system in Spanish?" "Yes, let me show you."
Yeah.
Does it do this? "Yes, let me show you." So this is the one that I'm gonna go with.
I think you're making a great point, and it's funny. You can now. I would argue that, and I don't think it's even an argument, but when you go through consolidation, when your company is bought, so WMS is bought by Scientific Games, Shuffle Master is bought by Bally, and then Bally in turn is bought by Scientific Games. There's a lot of turmoil. It's a lot of people going, a lot of people coming. It's just CEO carousel. It's a lot of turmoil, and that is not good for business. That's not good for It's not good for anything. It's good. You need to do it as part of the process. So I think that we have suffered from that over the last 7 or 8. It started in probably 2012, 2013. But now it's actually the opposite. We are divesting. We got rid of, got rid is the wrong word, because the lottery business, boy, I tell you, if I could work anywhere else besides casinos, I'd work for lottery. That business is awesome. So the lottery business is sold off. The sports betting business is sold, and I love sports betting. Those guys are geniuses. That's sold off. So it has the opposite effect of what happens when you're all aggregating together. It has the opposite effect of focusing your attention. So we're focused completely on games and the technologies of systems and card shufflers and other utility products for casinos that support those games. That's it. Our CEO is focused on that, not on how many scratch tickets did we sell in Massachusetts last month.
Right.
That's the focus. So I think it's going to be, we're going to look back. We're going to look back and say that was more important than we thought. Hey, we got the money. It's great. Made a lot of money, paid down our debt, but it's even more powerful is really for what remains to be focused on the one thing that matters the most, which is the game creation and the tech that supports those games. I think we're going to look back and say that was the best thing that ever happened to us. And I'm going to give all the credit to the name Light and Wonder when it happens. See, told you.
I love that name. I love it now.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the big? I'm sorry. Good.
I remember I had run into the president of WMS at the time, back in the day during G2E, one of the G2Es. And he actually, when we introduced ourselves, he said, "Oh, how come you only have one bank of machines of my games, which were the Monopoly, right?" And I said, because, and so I went right down my list of it because of what my customers were saying, and with us as well, of the performance of the games, things like that. And he goes, "Have you come by our booth?" I said, "No, I really didn't want to come by your booth," and because it just everything that you were doing, it just was not interested in it, right?
Yeah.
He said, "Please do me a favor, come by. I will make sure that we," and took me back into their I don't want to call it the vault, right? And it was there that I said, "I didn't know that this was, that you guys are doing this," right? So we put a couple of his bank of machines on our floor, and what a huge difference between games that were not doing so well to that. And he said, "I'm telling you right now, we are making our focus on these games and listening to customers such as yourself, and to going out and observing what others are saying." And that day, and that was the president of WMS at that time was Oren Edidin. And I know. I know Oren very well. Yeah, I have just been, I will call him all, "Okay, what do you guys have doing?" Even after, WMS was sold, it was still one of those really great relationships, because he, helped guide it through, and then said, "I promise you, WMS is going to come back." And they did. They did. They really did.
And it starts with that word of focus. And it's funny. I wish I could quote Shakespeare or Chaucer or Keats or whatever. Like Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee said, "I'm not afraid of the guy that's practiced 10,000 kicks one time. I'm afraid of the guy that's practiced one kick 10,000 times." And that is a metaphor for focus. So focus, focus, focus. You can't do everything in your personal life, in your professional life. You can't. I'm afraid of companies that are focused on one thing. And Shuffle Master for a long time was focused on one thing only. But as you grow, you tend to kind of get outside your focus zones. So that's why I think when the history of this company is written, you're going to look back at this year as being critical, because the focus reverted back to what we're really good at. And that's, I think, what's going to be the most important development going forward for us is we focus back on games completely and the tech that support them. And that's what's going to matter.
Yeah, you got to be who you are. You know, Steph Curry, he's a great 3-point shooter and more, right?
He's not going down to the post, backing guys in. Yeah, stupid.
Right.
Shoot the shot you can make.
Let him shoot.
Yeah, I mean, Bally's has come a long way just from the short time that I was, because I consider myself a little baby in the industry because, people such as yourself, Roger, who have been in the industry for years, right? And then here comes me in 1999 working with MGM and then, into Caesars in 2003. So in all reality, operational wise, 2003 on, so I'm really considered a baby in the industry. And we had the Bally's
We've been around too long
for all of Caesars entertainment, right? So, I mean, but we're going into ticket in, ticket out. Right. So I had to do a lot of things manually because we had the CVTs and only certain machines would, talk to it, things like that. But you guys are just.
Yeah, we had the chisel and the hammer. We did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Miguel, you know what that is. Don't act like you don't know. You know what.
CVTs. Oh, I know. I was like, oh my God.
So many things.
And finance would always come to me as well.
So many things throughout the times, that you forget a few of them. Yeah. As you get old.
So the gas prices and stuff. I mean, is Vegas getting hit again with people, tourists and stuff already?
No, it's the opposite. A lot of things are. I mean, life is counterintuitive. Who would have thought in 2000 that the job market would be what it is today, or the housing market would be what it is today? Mm-hmm. It's just completely been turned on its ear. One of the tough things now, because I had friends in town last week and the week before as well, was the basketball. I know you're going to show this probably a week after we record it, but the basketball tournament was going on, which is always a great week. That first opening weekend of the tournament, huge, insane. You can't, you can't walk around in the casinos.
It's religious.
So Vegas is completely back and better than ever. And I think there's a tremendous resiliency. It's easy to say now. If you asked me in April of 2020, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen.
It always
because
does.
Sometimes people get a chance to break a habit. They don't do something. I really didn't like it that much. They move on to something else. But the answer is no. People still like this. They love it. I think, and I'm not really good. It's funny. I'm not a real predictor I'm not a visionary. I can't see the future. Smart people whose opinions I respect tell me that the next wave is really going to be convergence, which is a fancy word, but it means, so you've got games that are online, you've got games that are in casinos, and you've got social type. You have all these games, and they're going to start becoming the same thing. So I'll give you a perfect example. At least my mind goes to the simplest explanation, the simplest example every time. So you guys know an electronic table game, like a stadium setup.
Yeah,
you got a couple of deals on a podium, and you've got 100 seats behind me.
Mm-hmm. So very entertaining arena things.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's another conversation for another day. But I think there are more entertainment type things you can do in that environment. But I think you'll see there's also this element of live dealer streaming. So there are dealers in warehouses in Latvia or in wherever, in the Philippines, and they're just dealing out
in the studios.
Studio is being simulcast around the world. Mm-hmm. I think those two will converge. And as a player you can play in person, and when you're playing online, you can actually see that environment. Mm-hmm. And there's more energy. You're essentially watching a football game in a full stadium versus an empty
simulcast.
Yeah. It's during the pandemic, they had those basketball games with nobody in the crowd. It sounds weird. So I think that's the analogy. And my mind always searches for analogies or precedents or patterns. And I think that I would rather, as a player, be piggybacking on that environment than a dealer dealing to nobody. So I think you'll see convergence there. But one thing I've learned over time, again, I'm not a good predictor of the future, but a lot of times something happens and then, now that has happened, it opens up these doors as well. But if you never take that first step, you never get past door number 1, and there are 10 doors behind it. That's just how innovation is. You look at your phone. I have an iPhone. look what it does now versus what it did when it first came out. They didn't envision this back in 2006, 2005, whenever the iPhone came out. They didn't envision all of what it could be, but the doors behind it eventually opened. And the same thing will happen in the casino space. Interesting,
because of the generations, you know, you know all the different generations. You know, you're real good at identifying all those the generations. But I can't imagine my granddaughter's 13. Thank God she's not gambling. I don't think she is. But anyway, but what they're going to be expecting as a casino versus, you know, you think about the old dice games, the old dice players that they disappeared. They you know, started dying off. What are they going to want to do?
There are things that are counterintuitive. So I wish it were one of my games, but the most popular games among younger gamblers is one of the oldest games in the casino. It's roulette. Mm-hmm. Roulette has had a resurgence in North America. It's always been big in Australia. It's always been big in Europe. In the US, it was all, you know, it was like the third or fourth biggest game. But now, for whatever, who knows? That's why I don't even try to predict the future, because I'm just flipping a coin. I don't know. Who would have thought that roulette, one of the oldest games in the industry, is the game of choice for younger players? Mm-hmm. Never. So now we're looking at doing some innovative ideas in roulette. It's because it's just so counterintuitive. And craps is another game. There's other companies that are doing very innovative, us as well, in the crap space. I don't know. I just don't think people are going to be playing, you know, Minecraft for money or what's that, League of Legends for money. I just don't see it. I could be wrong. Fortnite. I think.
Or Fortnite.
Fortnite. That's what I meant. Yeah, Fortnite. Exactly the same thing. I don't think that's going to happen. That you're going to go into a casino and play that. I think that gambling games are a category of their own. You make changes, you update them, but I don't think you literally have to, no pun intended, reinvent the wheel for the next generation.
I think, Roger, also that with all that has happened in the last 2 years, gave people new perspective. You know, with the lockdowns and you couldn't go anywhere, everything was shut down. Now that everything opened up, people saying, "Okay, I gotta get out there and enjoy life. I could have died. So many people died, and so much has happened." It says, "Okay, I'm gonna live my life. Whatever I got left, if it is a day, to a year, 2 years, 20 years, I'm going to enjoy them." So they're going out there and doing what they want to do.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's by the way, you could not have predicted this. Nobody could have. No, but that's why life is terribly counterintuitive. So that's why I don't like to make predictions like Yogi Berra. Predictions are tough, especially about the future. That old line. It's like, I don't even try to do it. People ask me all the time. I don't know, but I'm not good at that. But I can see the clues. I can look very out to see what are the clues that lead me to the conclusion. But a wild ass guess on what's going to happen, I've got no idea, because I never would have suspected that. Look at the labor market. You talk to these casino operators. San Manuel, the guys from California, they're the monsters of California. They're opening up a property here, they're going to have to get dealers. And I've heard that it's hard to find dealers. They're making more in tokes than ever, and it's hard to find them.
They're all not just dealers, the whole staff, at every level. At every level.
I think it's what Miguel said. I don't know if I just, you know, to be honest, I'm COVID schmovid. I didn't really affect me. I probably had it, didn't know it. But a lot of people were deeply, emotionally, and permanently affected by this. And it has affected how they view life, work-life balance. I don't want to come in the office. I want to be at home. Mm-hmm. I want that balance in my life. And companies have to react to that. It's not like it was in the 1960s or 70s or 80s. It's not that way anymore. Employees have tremendous, leverage, and it's that world is changing.
It's all about adaptation. It's all we adapt.
But people don't. So what happens is, I'm an older guy. You have to still be able to adapt. Yeah. Shooting Jurassic Park, dinosaurs. It didn't matter how badass Tyrannosaurus Rex was. Whatever happened. I couldn't deal with it.
I'm a GI, so
you have to be more like a cockroach. You got to be more. I'm joking, but I'm serious. You have to be able to adapt to different environments. And those people that get stuck in the old ways, and it's easy. I love the old ways. The old ways were great. I loved them. They were great. I understood them perfectly.
Time for change.
But the old ways are going away.
Yeah,
they're going away.
Yeah,
and that's what happens. It's like sometimes you don't change, but everything else does. And you got to do it. And
Makes you so
I wish you didn't have
happy.
to.
Change makes you feel amazing.
Change.
Oh, and that's another, you're going another area for me. Change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogers,
Aretha.
listen, man, I tell you what, man, I hate to, we have to wrap up. I can't.
Amazing.
This is one of those, you can't, no.
Keep on going for a few more hours.
This is a tough one here. And the main thing that we said, and we hold true, is we want to be able to teach, we want to inform, be open and honest and authentic. If this podcast can help do that, and you've helped tremendously, your contribution today, I was anxious to speak with you, as I was saying that we were and just having the conversation with Geoff yesterday about it. I think when you were here, we were looking at Punta Cana, looking at what the island had to offer, because it was your first trip to the Dominican Republic, but it's not going to be your last. I know that you don't want to go to Santo Domingo a whole lot and drive around that traffic.
Oh, no, my wife drives. I just sit in the back seat and curl up in a fetal position.
My wife doesn't drive when we go there. I drive.
Driving
the
this
craziest.
Yeah, we like Casa de Campo, Punta Cana. That's kind of my speed.
Yeah. Yep.
You golf, right?
Yeah.
Oh, did you know that there's one of the how's that rated, Miguel?
I know that.
One of the top ones. Yeah, they just had it here in Corrales.
No, I'm talking about the golf course at Casa de
in La
Campo.
Romana. Yeah, Teeth of the Dog. That
Teeth of the
Dog.
At
one point was rated #1 in the world. I don't think
we
it is
stayed.
anymore, but
Yeah.
We stayed at the resort there. I kind of peeked down a couple of fairways, but we weren't there that long. It was with my wife and her sister, and we came over to see our favorite tour guide, Bruce. Showed us around. Punta Cana.
There's like I think is somebody's going to look it up, but I'm going to say at least 8 to 10 or 12 holes right on the ocean, right on the Caribbean.
Yeah.
You know.
It's beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's beautiful. Roger, listen, man, we got to thank you, and it's amazing. Are you going to you have some presence in NIGA that's coming up, and then also, no, I think today there's in Argentina the Saxe.
Oh
yeah.
You guys have presence there?
No, NIGA's coming up in I think it's
April 19th.
April 19th, 20th. Yep, I'll be there. We'll be there.
Oh man,
absolutely.
Yes,
and by the way, so thank you very much. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the conversation. And good luck to you guys. You're doing great work, and you got one fan over here. I support what you guys are doing.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you.
All right,
it's great to have you.
That means so much,
Thanks,
Roger. Seriously, man, and we can't thank you enough. We really had a great time. And what you got?
Don't forget to tell Geoff about these damn.
Take his dice.
You should just start sending him some things too. You know?
I should just.
Is that Lucky Cats?
Just saying.
That Lucky Cats dice?
Yeah, that's what I got. The two cats.
Awesome,
All
man.
right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
See you later. Thanks, Roger. We'll talk to you later.
Roger.
Adios.
Tell the missus we say hello. Hola.
Yeah, give our best to your wife.
I will. Bye-bye.
What a great conversation we had with Roger.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
I had talked to him over the phone when he was coming here. Bruce got him on the phone with me, but I had never seen him and never talked met like we just have.
Yeah, in person.
Like we just have now. What a wonderful person. I can't wait to meet him in person and develop a nice relationship with him. So it was great to have him here.
Yes.
Very interesting, down-to-earth guy, bright, intelligent. So that's what we want to show our people here.
You gotta read his stuff too. You gotta read some of his.
Well, as himself, he says he's a good writer, but not a good reader. I'm not a good writer, and I'm not a good reader. I get bored to death. People tell me, "Have you ever read this book?" I tell them, "I can't wait until they make it into a movie because in 2 hours I'm in and out." So Miguel, I think in my whole life I read like 4 or 5 books. That's about it because it doesn't grab me.
But now it was very popular. In fact, I was a friend of mine who was just visiting from Toronto. He said he's so turned on. His wife brought him the audiobook.
Yeah,
and
I'm an audiovisual guy. If you get me a documentary or you give me like a story, for instance, those biblical stories, like the Ten Commandments. It's just like a 4-hour long movie. I can watch the Ten Commandments in one shot, no intermission or anything, because that grabs me. I can see it, I can understand it. But when I'm reading, no.
We're gonna have to get Roger. We're gonna have to get your audiobook so you can read his stuff. He's got some cool stuff, man.
His posts in LinkedIn, and there's a very short one in LinkedIn. I mean, it is very, very interesting and filled with some really good information, but with some funny anecdotes as well. So
yeah, no, that I can read. Something short like an article that I can read. But you give me like 100-page book, which is not a lot. 100 pages is not a lot. 50 pages, I will not get to the end.
Well,
unless it's some sort of manual or training manual or something like that, or I bought a new TV and it comes with 50 pages, I might read those because I want to know exactly what it does, or a computer. But a book, no.
Yeah, this podcast here, like sincerely for me, was really interesting. And then at the same time, like I said, I've seen the support. The genuine support, and to get it from Roger, to get that endorsement, as Hina has endorsed us as well. We have to get Roger here. We have to get him as a co-host as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. I'll tell you what. We have to bring him and Geoff at the same time. That's going to be off the hook. We get him and Geoff at the same time, and Roger is going to start torturing Geoff, and we torture Geoff from this side. We like it's going to be like a tag team operation against Geoff.
No, we might need some medics or something. It's going to get deadly. It's going to get bloody.
We may have to have a mediator between all of you guys. Stop.
Bloody Ruddy Cuddy, that British name. Bloody Ruddy, you up the apples and pears. I tell you, Hina, thanks so much. Miguel, was a good day. Hina, was a great day. Yeah. Roger Snow was with us, Senior Vice President, Light and Wonder. We want to tell everybody again, make sure you can get a hold of us at info@chequesplay.com. And anything like you have that's on your mind, that you have interest in, or just give us some feedback. Just let us know, how bad we are, or how good we are, or what we need to do to fix ourselves, to get better.
Let us know.
To get better. We're not looking to stop anytime soon. And
we'll take criticism from everybody, and we'll try to make ourselves better. Remember, we're not professionals. We're doing this because we enjoy it. We want to bring out something about us and the people that we know, and the top people in the gaming industry. We want to present them to you, and therefore, out of that, you can get experiences, you can get ideas, and hopefully that is something that we're doing for you.
Well, I'm informative. I mean, I get all the information from you guys, and it's really great info, especially from Roger today. So
yes,
I enjoy this podcast. So thank you so much, gentlemen. Again,
thank you for having us.
You make us better. You made us better. We stepped up a few pegs, I think.
Yes.
So
we're part of the family already, Hina. Yes. So whenever one of us can't make it, we're going to reach out, and you get up at any time.
I would love
That's the beauty of it, that you don't care. You get up at 2:00 in the morning and do it for us.
Just don't refuse.
Really appreciate that.
Don't refuse us, please.
Yeah. Well, you'll get the first right of refusal.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, have a fabulous aloha day.
Na. See everybody. Take care. Thanks again, Roger Snow. Here's Hina Reed right there. Next Gen Technologies. You saw Roger Snow. Thanks again for his contribution. Light and Wonder. We wish them all the best. We'll see you guys later.
Check the website.